Well, as you can see,
You were gone for ages! Hey, what's with the...
You never think things through before asking questions. I'm giving you some time to make up for that.
Paimon's so mad! Paimon's gonna give you an ugly nick... there's just nothing super obvious to pick with...
Well, you've heard nothing to suggest I left this whole time. So, anyway, you plan to leave Aru Village.
Yep. Enough with the silent treatment!
No. I'm just surprised that you decided to team up with him.
Alhaitham, you haven't helped us out at all ever since we arrived at Aru Village. Bold of you to
Yeah, you're all talk!
While you were investigating,
Really? Paimon does...
To be honest, we aren't really a team, so I have no obligation to Not to mention that going separate ways allowed me to find some important information that you all had missed.
Huh? Right here in the village?
Correct.
What did you learn?
I'm going to take you to someone. But, before
What does that mean?
how do you think the residents of Aru Village feel about what we're doing? In other words, do you truly believe every single...
You mean, some of them lied to us?
Hiding the truth does not necessarily equate to lying. Remember what Gandis said? Most people in Aru Village don't necessarily care which deity is in charge of Sumeru. That's because whether the Scarlet King or the Dendro Archon has power is of little significance to them. By contrast, the perils of their daily lives are ever-present concerns. They won't simply share everything they know with you without good reason. That's why you believed there was no further information to be found in this village. Glad you're following along. Among those you have talked to, there's someone who was consciously keeping you out of the loop. In fact, she's been observing your every move since you arrived. The reason being, to someone who only wants to live their life in peace, any external factors introduce...
Those eyes.
Don't change the subject.
It's quite obvious that she's intimidated by Sino's authority and strength.
Right. You were asking about the
She corrected herself mid-sentence because she's aware that there are Scarlet King fanatics in the village. If she sounds too friendly towards the village keepers, she could easily make herself the Radicals' next target.
I think it's been a few days since I last saw them. I usually go to bed pretty early, so I'm not too familiar with what goes on at night.
Remember? She made a point of denying her involvement in anything that occurs at night.
But honestly, I feel quite sympathetic towards them, even though they act a little...
After speaking to the village chief, it became clear that the village keepers had protected Aru Village at night. In other words, the young miss was very much awake during that time.
Then, why would she lie?
By getting involved with an outsider, she risks drawing unwanted attention to herself. As for why she might be so wary about all this, maybe you should ask her.
I'll pass on this. You said that she is afraid of me. If so...
We're on it!
Miss Shawnee, as we discussed earlier...
Mr. Alhaitham, I'm a...
Huh? What do you mean?
Go ahead and talk to her. Go on.
Is it really that simple?
May I call you... hi, Traveler. Do you think the resurrection of the Scarlet King can truly change Sumeru for the better? Why's that? That's very similar to what Miss Candace says. I know you two before. I wouldn't even have the courage. Traveler, do you believe our lives will get...
Yeah! But even so, we've met lots of people from different... We have friends in Sumeru.
My apologies for posing my questions like that. To be honest,
Al-Haytham told us you have your reasons.
the fact is that I'm... Only one side of my family is desert folk. I don't really fit in anywhere in Sumeru. Some believe in the Dendro Archon, while others believe in the Scarlet King.
Speaking of which, the Radicals mentioned that they despise traitors. Do they just think that anyone who's different from them is a traitor?
Yeah. Some people can be so narrow-minded when it comes to bloodline and beliefs. It makes no difference what I say or how I behave. I'll always be suspected of having ulterior motives. Slowly, I just stopped talking to people. I pretended not to hear or see anything. All I want is to... And then it happened. The village keepers who had helped me disappeared with no explanation.
You can tell them. I'm sure.
All right. I actually have a sharper sense of hearing than most. Sometimes, I hear strange crying sounds in the night. Perhaps. I'm not sure. It's faint. It used to be louder and more frequent. But ever since you arrived in the village, it doesn't seem to happen as often. And when it does, it's much quieter.
I confirmed this with the guards on night duty. They also have someone with a good ear, and he's heard similar sounds at night. But, because we're in the middle of a desert, he would rather believe that they are the cries of beasts than ghosts.
There's really nothing around these parts, except...
I think they used to use it for treating Elazar, but it's been abandoned for years.
Yeah,
There is no escape!
You're mine! Who's next? All right, now we're talking.
Ooh, is this the place? It's in terrible shape, and there's sand everywhere.
Empty and forgotten. An ideal place to hide people.
Monsters! Watch out!
Brace yourself! This is gonna hurt!
Shine down!
The wind knows me. As one with wind and cloud!
Blaze over! No touching!
They were easier to deal with than Paimon had expected. Super strong bandits? Or... He looks super serious. We gotta stay on our A game too.
This is the one. Let's go in and take a...
Hey,
Patience. Shawnee says she only hears the crying at night. We have time to burn. Until then, I'm taking a break.
and just like that, he sits down. Wait, he even brought a book to read? What are you reading? Let Paimon see.
Okay, sure.
Huh?
So...
Oh, Paimon gives up. You keep reading your book. See ya. How is he so relaxed? Look at him, reading an impossible book in a creepy place like this. Hey, Paimon's your Teyvat travel guide. And anyway, it's not Paimon's fault that the books people... Paimon's getting so sleepy. Huh? What was that sound?
there it is. It's coming from that direction.
Is the sound coming from here? Huh. Paimon's not seeing anything.
It's from below.
But there...
Something is off about the interior here. As I thought, there's a hidden structure.
Wow. It's like they tucked another hospital into this one. Oh, it looks like there are other mechanisms around here. Let's keep exploring.
One with nature.
Trainee Forest Ranger Kale, reporting.
Illusion shattered!
Who's next? Into the wind. Clouds high. The birds come.
Shine!
That's close enough.
Illusion shattered!
I'll be back.
There is no escape!
The range knows me.
What are my orders?
Follow the wind.
Look! There's someone over there! Good idea! Let's approach him.
Wait. You're...
He can't speak, and... Also, what?
Didn't expect to see him.
You know
He's Razak, a senior of mine at the academia.
he's a scholar too? Is he the kind of...
No. Razak was never involved in any of those things. He never trained in the forest, let alone reach Satyavada life. Leaving that question aside for the moment, looks like they've already taken everyone away. For whatever reason, they left Razak here. There are drag marks on the ground. They're clearer by the doorway. Someone was forcefully drawing a cart that was loaded with something heavy.
loaded with...
That is one possibility. It looks like they were in a hurry, as if they were afraid of being caught. The symptoms are identical.
Huh?
Allow me to jog your memory. Don't you think his symptoms look familiar?
Oh! Now...
Correct. The academia is behind all of this. It isn't difficult to deduce their rationale. First, the academia spread a false rumor of the Scarlet King's resurrection, emphasizing the role of the village keepers. These rumors were all the persuasion that the radicals needed, and those based in Aru village leapt into action. Unbeknownst to them, as well as being able to exploit the radicals for their own ends, this scheme has one further advantage to the academia. All the risks and responsibilities are offloaded onto the Scarlet King's followers. Life for the desert dwellers has been brutal ever since the Scarlet King's death all those years ago. But many would give everything they have for the prospect of something better. Anyone looking to exploit that for their own ends simply needs to make a few empty promises. Even if complications arise, people will... The notion of an academia plot wouldn't even cross their minds. It may seem like a simple strategy, but it is able to work wonders.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. But there's still one very important question. Wasn't it the
Throughout this process, one thing has changed. First, they were scholars. Then, they became lunatics. After that, they were exiles. And finally, An exile is still patently a living, breathing human being. But when someone becomes a missing person, if you can't find someone, you have no way of knowing what exactly happened to them.
Resource?
One possibility is that the information in their brains could be extracted into knowledge capsules.
Extracted?
With the technology of the Sumeru academia, it's entirely possible. Perhaps the process caused them great suffering, which is why they cry out in the dead of night, when no one is watching them.
So, the human brain...
I'm the academia scribe, after all. Anyway, judging by Razak's state, the contents of a divine knowledge capsule were extracted from his mind. But, or perhaps, his curiosity got the better of him, and he used such a capsule for himself.
Hyman's a little...
The look on your face tells me you've realized the answer. That's right. To some scholars, gaining knowledge about the gods is their... However, I can't help but wonder. The academia is going... I've spent quite...
You mean you're not even slightly...
All scholars seek to expand the horizons of knowledge. Extracting information from people as if they were lifeless objects? If this is the direction of academic progress, then the academia may as well shut its doors.
Sounds like you're really against all this.
Of course. The academia's actions run contrary to their rules. Whether it be academics or knowledge, everything has its boundaries. If those lines are crossed, the rules and order that govern everything in the world will be destroyed. This matter needs to be corrected. Just...
Wait! Didn't you step in to help because you felt
Not to be callous, but no. My criteria are a little more... There is no shortage of suffering in Sumeru, and the same can be said for the rest...
Probably not.
You can say that. Simply put, the divine knowledge capsule is something I want to investigate in full.
Hyman's been wanting to say this for a while. There are a lot of bad guys in...
You're probably right. Though I must say, I quite enjoy this feeling of being the odd one out. Uniqueness is also an asset, is it not?
Wow, that's a great way to think about it. Paimon's really impressed.
I'm just a more likable person than her in general. He won't last long if we leave him here. We'll work out our next step
Time to go.
You must be
What's the situation?
Unfortunately, somebody who's too young to take on the role of Isak's grandfather. Nevertheless, he's one of the people we're trying to find.
So, at one point in time, the abandoned Elazar hospital served.
Yep, pretty much.
Their plan must have been implemented at some point before we arrived at Aru village, since divine cant and knowledge has been in circulation for a while now. Yet, they fled once we were headed to the village, almost as if they knew we were on their trail.
Yeah.
We may have a mole in our midst. One of us could be secretly revealing our whereabouts to the academia.
Huh? Are our friendships?
Looks like none of you have realized wherein lies Sino. You're the reason why they can predict our movements.
Wait, what's that supposed to mean?
Choose your next words, fair.
It is simply a logical inference.
So what you're saying is interesting.
I know. You have a point. But I realized something as we were returning from the hospital. Sino isn't like any of us.
What are you trying to say?
Do you still remember who you are, General Mahamatra? As a Matra, you are no doubt privy to certain kinds of information. Before you can take, simply put, the academia, if you want to raise a vicious wolf, you need to make sure that you can avoid its bite.
The academia is monitoring me?
It's not that simple. The academia has eyes all over Sumeru, but they have a special protocol for dealing with you. Every so often comes a Nyagarbaha day. On this day, the academia enters new information into the Akasha through knowledge capsules. I remember seeing the thick notebook next to the control panel once. Its contents were all about the General Mahamatra, his activities throughout the day, preferred methods of enacting judgment, everything.
You're saying that the academia entered my information into the Akasha too? But what's the point in doing that? My actions aren't important enough.
The Akasha is capable of computation. The Akasha's algorithms are entirely capable of predicting your movements using the data entered. When you would depart, the route you would follow, your destination. It knew all of this.
It predicted my every move.
The academia has been watching you longer than you think.
So that's how it is. Sino adheres to his principles so strongly that he's actually a thorn in their side. Tenacity of will and steadfast faith are worthless to the academia. They need scholars who are easily pliable and mindlessly go after anything they can. Sino, don't take it to heart. This just
They escaped because of me.
Don't blame yourself. It's not like any of us would have known.
I have an idea. If they predicted my movements, then I might be able to guess where they went.
Whoa, you bounced back fast.
There is always an opportunity for safety after danger passes.
Oh, so that's... If the academia is trying to avoid Sino, then the safest place... Yep, that's...
They'll want to proceed in the direction opposite of where I'm going. I must go.
There's also something I want to investigate.
Let's go, guys! Please, wait! I want to go too!
You want to go too?
I want to find Grandpa.
Everyone, I leave him in your hands.
Yay! Let's... Paimon feels like we're...
I'll be awaiting your good news.
Please.
So, where do we go from here?
Yes. After leaving the village, we should head straight toward the desert.
I know the desert like the back of my hand.
Is that because you play here a lot?
Yep. One time, Grandpa almost got lost in the desert, but I was the one who brought him back.
There's something here. What's this?
It's buried in the sand.
And Paimon thought running around everywhere was already enough work. Okay. So,
These are likely fragments of an academia-developed device, something that looks like there were more than one village keeper. They must have been escorted this way because there are device fragments scattered around here. Let's split up and search the area.
is this what we're searching for?
This is definitely a device used to...
How did it end up buried in the sand? They must have been attacked along the way.
Wait, what?
Grandpa, I hope you're okay.
Don't worry, your grandpa's gonna be fine.
Razak didn't display any signs of starvation or dehydration.
We should be able to catch...
One more thing. Given that the device had been entirely... I believe the attack must have happened prior to the sandstorm.
Let's keep going. They can't have gone far.
Ugh, but running on sand is so tiring.
But you're flying, aren't you, Paimon? Is flying over sand tiring too?
Ugh, of course it is.
Voices, over there. It sounds like an argument.
Whoa, you have really good ears.
Don't get any closer. They'll notice us.
Dia's talking with the Eremites? Very interesting. Let's listen.
If you had informed me sooner, there'd be plenty of room for us to...
You're one of us. We would never.
Scholars. You don't know as much as...
Dia? Why would you? Dia!
Hey, what are you doing?
Huh?
Didn't you say you'd help me find Grandpa?
Well,
This complicates...
You've betrayed Aru village.
so, this dear, you'd be better off as my assistant.
I'm not the type that's easily swayed, Raman.
Wait, what's going on, Dia? Whose side are you on here?
Shut it, Paimon.
It doesn't matter. Whichever side you pick, nothing could deter us from the grand mission.
Face the facts, Raman. It's not gonna happen. You should understand that more than anyone.
I'm a desert dweller and a proud follower of the Scarlet King.
It's not too late yet. The village keep...
You don't understand, my dear lady.
Even if it'll expose you to the academia, even if they end up disbanding the Eremites, your Eremites, which you've worked so hard...
Yes. We've waited a long time for this day to come. with these scholars in our...
Ridiculous. Think about it. The academia controls the entirety of... If you still don't believe me, then try asking these two men. They're also against the academia, but neither of them are as arrogant as you are.
They look more like pawns of the academia. Filthy traitors.
It's impossible to communicate with someone so... Perhaps we should.
Do you really believe that by kidnapping the scholars, you'll be able to negotiate with the academia? These people have no value as bargaining chips, but I could be persuaded to take their place as your next hostage. These scholars were exiled from the academia. I, on the other hand, am their current scribe, and will be a much greater asset to you.
Wait, you can't be serious.
So, you want to...
Precisely.
What are you thinking? What if they decide to kill you instead?
Well, that would be bad luck for me. However, I'd get the chance to observe the scholars. Perhaps even...
Thinking...
I'm not trying to persuade you. I'm using...
You are the scribe. What do you...
Not all desert dwellers believe in the Scarlet King, and the same applies to the academia. Why must all knowledge seekers approve of the academia's way of doing things?
You academia scum.
Not so fast. I'll hate them. Do you stand by everything you just said?
I never make empty promises.
You know you're making a dangerous decision, right?
I do.
Good. Raman, hear me out. These people are my friends. Maybe you...
We've known each other for...
In that case, I'm willing to vouch for their honesty with my right arm. Come on, Raman, don't be a coward.
An arm from the flesh. But what if you refuse to oblige? What should I do then? No one's a fool here, Dia. We're
You're not wrong, but this is different. I promised my...
Let's do it right here, then. Give me your right arm as proof of your resolve.
Don't listen to him!
That's fine.
Are you crazy?
We came here to save lives. One arm for that many people is still a pretty good deal, if you ask me. Raman?
Sure. Go ahead and cut off her right arm.
No! Dia! What are you gonna do? Think of something!
You don't have to go this far.
That's not for you to decide.
Do it!
Dia! Run!
Stop!
What's wrong?
Flame Mane, you and I are both desert folk. Cutting off... You've shown me that you're serious. Go on now, take your...
Phew. I was really counting on him not going through with it.
Dia! That was crazy! Have you...
Then I just have to hold my claymore with my left arm. Okay, I'm sorry, but sometimes...
Don't ever make a promise like that again. I can deal with the likes of them. If it came down to it, you would not lose to them either.
I don't doubt it, Sino. But this is about more than me and them. Even if we got rid of one bunch of radicals, there are others out there. Wiping them out would do more harm than good.
I'm sorry, Dia. I should have stayed put.
It's okay. I promised you I'd help find your...
Whatever it takes? You just might...
Huh? Are you serious?
The Eremites once said that I was a lunatic. Perhaps a little madness is essential to be successful in research.
Why does it feel like he's using his praise for me as an excuse to brag about himself? Okay, let's get moving.
Chih! Chih!
You're all here so early.
Looks like we have
I'll watch from a safe distance.
Okay,
Dia, wait,
what's the matter?
I heard that you were quite reckless yesterday.
Fine.